Took this property from underperforming, low occupancy, poor reviews to doing $95,000 in gross revenue for the 2024 calendar year. We did this with only a $5,000 budget to upgrade this property, make it photograph, stand out, address all of the problems. And I want to show you exactly what we did with that $5K to get to that $95K gross revenue for 2024. Come check it out. So some of the first things that we did in this property to really make it stand out and compete with the market, simple things, right? We only had $5K, that's not a lot, but we wanted to make it sure that it was impactful. Coffee bar, non-negotiable. Need to have a coffee bar. This one, we opted to have an espresso machine. It's Vegas, people want things a little bit nicer, right? We have our typical hand soaps, dish soap, amenities, right? Now, optimizing a listing, crock pot, rice cooker, all the things that we need in the kitchen. Obviously making sure that we have the appropriate guest count for dishes, cups, utensils, all of those things. Those are things that we did here in this kitchen, right? Now, one of the other things that we implemented to improve, we knew reviews were a problem here. We implemented this guest welcome basket. Now, we don't do it for every single one of our properties, but we do it for typically our older homes, the ones that we know, just wear and tear. The house is older, right? Historic homes, things like that. Things that we want to make sure that guests have a really good first impression, right? Cut us a little bit of slack. We do a welcome gift. So we did that here. Now, moving through, we have our dining room. It's a funky house, right? This property, it was already set up as a short-term rental. So we used as much of the existing furnishings as possible. This, for example, these were already here. We already had the plants, we had the dishes, we had these tables, right? But turning into the living room here, we knew that we had to optimize the bed and guest count for this home to be competitive in this market. It's a 4-bedroom home in Las Vegas. It does not have a pool. We don't even have a backyard here, but we have a great location. So we knew that we needed to elevate this to really capitalize on the groups that are staying here, but make it stand out, get a little funky with it. So we got a new couch. This is a sleeper sofa, so it pulls out into a queen size bed. We get 1 bed and 2 guests out of this couch. We got some funky wall art, new tree, new lights, TV was already here, new rug, new throw pillows, throw blankets, coffee table, all of this is new. Even this accent chair is new. Now, a lot of what we had to source for this property was secondhand. So coffee table was new, pillows, throw pillows, art, that was all new. But this couch, secondhand, got it on Facebook Marketplace, got a killer deal. It was like brand new. Same thing with this accent chair, all right? So we're not above finding things secondhand if you need to get what you need done within a small budget. Again, small amount of money, but huge impact, right? The way that this space photographs because of the cool rug, the contrast with the table, the lighter furniture, and then this really funky piece of art, that's the stuff that really will make that photo stand out in a space that's, it's not anything crazy. This isn't a luxury high-end house by any means, but it photographs really great and it provides guests with everything that they need for their stay. All right, so now we're gonna go into the bedroom. I'll show you what we did there. A little note, we did get some extra wall art, some Vegas. We wanna lean into the Vegas vibe here, right? So come on into this room. Now, this is the master bedroom. So in this room, there was already 2 full-size beds. That's what you see behind me. We kept those beds here, but this whole space in the middle of this room was empty. There was nothing here. So again, knowing that we need to optimize the bed and guest count and lean into kind of the funky nature of this space, we added this really bright, it's like an emerald green futon. So again, we get 1 more guest and 1 more bed out of this. So right now we're in 2 spaces, only 1 bedroom, but you've seen 4 different beds and enough sleeping for 2, 4, 6, 7 guests. All right. Now, again, is the futon a most desirable place to sleep? No, of course not. But when we're talking about that Airbnb game and how to optimize a listing so that it gets highest in the search rankings, you get more bookings, we're going to count this futon as a bed. And then we're going to decide based on what the market tells us if we need to increase the guest count or not. Are we going to market it for a guest to actually sleep on, or is it just a bonus? we make those decisions once we're actually going live and figure out what works for any given property, right? So we added in here all new linens. So we got new sheets. They weren't in great condition. We got new bedspreads. We like to do the quilts because they're easy to clean. You can wash them in a regular washing machine. Also got blackout curtains. Again, something funky, a cool print that's really gonna add depth into those photos, right? It brings in some texture, something more eye-catching. We painted this wall pink. Previously, the whole house was an off-white. It was just an off-white, nothing fun, nothing special. Yeah, it's pink, but we also wanted to contrast that with the blue to bring in some masculine energy. We didn't want it to be too feminine and be a deterrent to any male groups staying here, right? So we want to keep things neutral, balanced between that feminine, the masculine, the light colors, the bright colors, the dark, right? So in here, we brought a lot of that in through these different textures, different finishes, the sconces, things of that nature. Now, moving this direction, want to show you some things that we did over here. So every property needs some kind of dedicated workspace, right? As we continue to grow in the world that we're currently living in, remote work is bigger and bigger, right? Even sometimes it's not remote work, and whatever you do for work, you just have to have a desk. You got to get something done while you're on vacation, you're traveling, whatever the case might be. We always have a desk. So this is a new addition that we brought in as part of that budget. We got the desk, the chair. This is a vanity light. So being in Vegas, we know that we often are going to be hosting groups of large groups of women, I should say. And you need mirror space. It's a competition for mirror space, getting ready, go out, whatever you're doing, right? So we wanted to appeal to both. We're checking in amenity. We have a dedicated workspace. We have a desk. It is available. And it's functional for the demographic that we're likely to see in this market, right? Adding an extra mirror, getting ready, makeup, all of that. Paint, accent paint. This is a new addition as well. Tree, that's new. The wet bar was here, but nothing else. The fridge wasn't here. The shelf wasn't here. Wine glasses weren't here. Art, nothing. It was just the cabinetry. So we made this into an actual functional wet bar. We added some cool art. Obviously, we added the actual wine glasses, the actual tumbler, all of those things. We added an extra fridge because, again, we do have a high bed and guest count at this property. And then last but not least in this space, this room doesn't have a closet. If you didn't notice looking around, this room doesn't have a closet. But again, with this many guests, closet space is desirable. So we installed one of these closet rods. It's just an iron and a luggage rack. So that way everyone has place to put their things. All right, now we're gonna move into the bathroom here. And I am going to, it's a little tight squeeze, so try and follow me. This was another space. It's a little bit funky, right? It's an older house. It echoes crazy in here. There's no mirror on the tile. So we had to install a wall-mounted mirror to address that, right? Every bathroom needs a mirror. Again, people getting ready. We added really bright colored towels, again, to photograph better. Typically, who wants orange towels? Well, you wouldn't put that in your house, but you can definitely do it in a rental property. It's fun, it's funky. I would not recommend white towels because they get dingy. They're really hard to keep clean. Orange, a color, absolutely. So we just spruced this space up. We added a shelf here where there was already a funky shelf, added all of our typical amenities, checked those boxes, and new rugs, right? New towels throughout, all of those things. Again, all part of this same budget. So now we're gonna move into the rest of the house. We're gonna go to, we talked on the living room, we talked on the dining room. Let's move into some of the bedrooms now. We'll do the bedrooms and that other bathroom. All right, so we are going into our first bedroom here. This is a full-size bed. So again, this bed itself was already here. The TV was already here. What did we add? We painted the wall. We got new bedspread, new throw blanket, throw pillows. We added these wall sconces because, again, we want to make it a little funky. We added the curtains, curtain rod, our wall-mounted mirror because everybody needs a mirror. And then in our closet, we've got a luggage rack, right? So again, elevating the space. Previously, all of the beds had white sheets, white blankets, white pillows. There was no color. So now we're gonna go into this bathroom. This is the guest bathroom. Remember, this property only has 2 bathrooms. So high guest count, only 2 bathrooms. Wanted to make it stand out as much as we could. We've got a separate bath. Definitely wanted to stage appropriately, right? We got new rugs, same thing, towels. We got a tub tray because that's worth it. Spending 30 bucks on a tub tray to make sure the space is elevated, it photographs well, it's appealing to guests, definitely worth the investment. We got all of our bathroom amenities. We added our shelf, our wall art, right? We've got all of these good things right here. Something a little clever. Bathrooms, you can do something a little funky. You know, it's a bathroom. People are stuck in here. You got to be here. Might as well have a little fun with it, right? And then, of course, we add our shower stand, stool, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's a desk, a table, a seat. We have our shampoo, conditioner, a plant, so it photographs well, right? All of these things were new. Previously, before we took over, it was just a blank slate, no rugs, no stand, no amenities, white towels, right? Really, really plain. It doesn't have that pop to make it photograph well. So now we're in the last 2 bedrooms. This is, again, it's a full-size, 2 full-size beds. This is one of my favorite projects. This whole house that we did, this is one of my favorite projects because we had total creative liberty and could do something super funky. So if you see this wall art, now I'm a little biased because myself and my business partner, we did paint this ourselves. So I think it looks killer, but it's one of those things, it's so funky. And all it was the cost of paint, right? Paint and our time fit into the budget. And it's something different that really makes this property stand out in photos and gives guests that funky, elevated, different experience, right? No one wants to stay in a property that they can have at home. That's why you're getting a short-term rental. You want something different than what you have in your home environment, but still have all of those same comforts. So obviously the wall paint goes without saying. Curtains, those are different. Those are new. Bedspreads, throw blanket, throw pillows, all new. We had the bed frames, the mattresses, and the end table. Those were all already existing, but we got to spruce it up a little bit. And then same thing in this last bedroom here. Again, these are 2 full beds. Same idea, the furniture was already here, but we painted this funky accent wall. Again, we've got that balance between the feminine and the masculine, the pink light colors, the darker colors on the bed, right? New bedspread, new throw pillow, throw blankets, new curtains. Wall paint, like I mentioned, is new. This is another one that I want to point out that is close to my heart. This was a DIY project. We did not buy this, we made this. My business partner and I, Gina, she had this idea from Pinterest and we created it, bought some pampas grass, bought a placemat, hot glued it all together, covered it up. So, you know, again, when we're talking about low budget, this whole property, all the changes that you've seen, we spent $5,000. That's it. To really elevate this space where it needs to. And now it's performing. We don't have an occupancy problem. We're at 65% on average year round. We have a higher nightly rate. We have the optimized bed and guest count, and it photographs really well, and it's funky, right? We did all of that with not a lot of money, but it made such a huge impact. So just to recap, you know, bed, guest count, we got 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beds. 8 actual beds in here. And we can sleep, how many is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 people in 8 beds in 4 bedrooms, right? So that's a pretty good setup. Again, every market is different as far as what is the optimal bed and guest count for your size property. But in Las Vegas, we get a lot of groups, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, conferences, right? So we need that higher bed count and guest count to be competitive here, as well as we need the funky color. We need those things that are really cheap, DIY maybe, but have a huge impact because look at how well that room can photograph or this room can photograph just because it has something a little bit different. So again, $5,000 can go a long way.